May 12th, 2026 at 5:01 p.m. and we are going to start our Placerville City Council meeting. Please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Could we please call roll?
Councilmember Carter?
Here.
Councilmember Clarici?
Here.
Councilmember Yarbrough will be noted as absent. Vice Mayor No?
Here.
Mayor Gottberg?
Here.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to move on to item 3, ceremonial matters, and we will be having a proclamation at our next city council meeting for the retirement of Dave Warren. So if folks want to come out to our next meeting, we'll do some cake and have a proclamation and all of that. We're going to move on now to item 3.1, a proclamation commending Miss Julie Burnsides for nearly 20 years of exemplary service to the city of Placerville. All right. Whereas Miss Burnsides began her distinguished career with the city of Placerville in October 2006, or 2006, sorry. I'm like, that's this year. Whereas Miss Burnsides has served the city of Placerville with unwavering loyalty, professionalism, and excellence for nearly 2 decades, beginning her career as an executive assistant to the chief of police and advancing through key roles in the community services department, including community services specialist. And whereas Ms. Burnside's administrative skills are exceptional and her work ethic, professionalism, reliability, and discipline have been repeatedly praised in performance evaluations as second to none. And whereas Ms. Burnsides has repeatedly demonstrated extraordinary commitment by willingly stepping up during challenging times, most notably during the COVID-19 pandemic, where she seamlessly assumed critical administrative leadership responsibilities in addition to her primary duties when the community service department faced significant staffing shortages. And whereas Ms. Burnside's exceptional administrative expertise, tireless work ethic, and ability to excel under pressure have been consistently recognized as second to none, earning her praise as a highly disciplined, reliable, motivated, and capable public servant who delivers results to the highest quality. And whereas Ms. Burnsides is a commensurate professional and an inspiring role model whose positive influence, dedication, and integrity have strengthened both the Placerville Police Department and the Community Services Department while enriching the lives of Placerville residents through her outstanding contributions. And whereas in 2013, Ms. Burnsides received the Placerville Police Department Professional of the Year Award for single-handedly organizing National Night Out when the event was at risk of cancellation, ultimately earning first place for Placerville in its category from the National Association of Town Watch. And whereas Ms. Burnsides also earned a certificate of recognition for her outstanding service during the mutual aid response to the 2014 Sand Fire and King Fire. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed that the City Council of the City of Placerville hereby recognizes and honors Julie Burnsides for her nearly 20 years of loyal, dedicated, and outstanding service to the City of Placerville and its residents. The City Council extends its heartfelt gratitude for Ms. Burnside's many contributions and wishes her continued success and happiness in all her future endeavors. And with that, we will come down and present. right, would anybody like to comment? Well, I guess it looks like maybe
Yeah.
the council would like to comment first on item
does.
3.1.
I just so appreciate Julie. I was on Park and Rec for 10 years, and she always was so knowledgeable, so helpful with everything, and you will be dearly missed. Your smile, your personality, and all your hard work. Thank you.
My sentiments exactly. When you go into the office back there, and she was back there, smile on her face, always very helpful, always very professional, and just a real credit to the city and to everything else. So thank you very much.
All right. Great. Would any member of the public like to comment on 3.1?
Good evening, Kathy Lishman. Julie was always there and always energetic and enthusiastic, and you're right about smiling. And she helped Community Pride a lot, get our ads in the little activity guide. And anyway, I have missed her this last year and just wish her well. Thank you.
Hi, guys. Julie, it was so much fun working with you on Rec and Park and helping out with Halloween. And we've been missing you, and I just want to say thank you for all the wisdom you gave me working with you over the last few years, and I wish you the best happy retirement in the world. Thank you.
All right. Any further?
I'm happy to share too, real briefly.
Yep, go for it.
So the one thing I didn't include in her proclamation was she's also an amazing daycare worker, because since she's been gone, I felt like I'm just a kindergartner, not really knowing where to go. But starting here almost 2 years ago, and as Julie as our primary administrator in the office, it was very nice to actually have someone who knew what they were doing, because sometimes we're very fluid and very kind of different departments. She's always been very knowledgeable, and I don't want to say it too much, but I'm going to miss you very much, Julie. Thank you for all you've done.
All right. Right. If there's no further comments, we'll go ahead and move on to 3.2. Proclamation declaring May 25th, 2026 as Memorial Day at the El Dorado County Veterans Monument, and we will be reading this on Memorial Day at the monument at 11 a.m. So please come out then to hear our proclamation and support that event. Item number 3.3, a proclamation proclaiming May 10th through 16th, 2026 National Police Week and May 15th, 2026 Peace Officers Memorial Day in the city of Placerville. So whereas there are more than 800,000 law enforcement officers serving in communities across the United States, including the dedicated members of the Placerville Police Department. And whereas, since the first recorded death in 1786, more than 24,000 law enforcement officers in the United States have made the ultimate sacrifice and been killed in the line of duty. And whereas the names of 24,775 dedicated public servants are engraved on the walls of the National Law Enforcement Officers Memorial in Washington, D.C. And whereas in spring 2026, 363 new names of fallen heroes are being added to the National Law Enforcement Officers Memorial, including 109 officers who were killed in 2025 and 254 officers who were killed in previous years. And whereas the service and sacrifice of all officers killed in the line of duty will be honored during the National Law Enforcement Officers Memorial Fund 38th Candlelight Vigil on the evening of May 13th, 2026. And whereas the Candlelight Vigil is part of National Police Week, which will be observed this year, May 10th through 16th, 2026, and whereas May 15th is designated as Peace Officers Memorial Day in honor of all fallen officers and their families, and U.S. flags should be flown at half-staff. Now, therefore, I, Nicole Gottberg, Mayor of the City of Placerville, do hereby proclaim May 10th through May 16th, 2026 as National Police Week in Placerville, and publicly salute the service of law enforcement officers in our community and communities across the nation. And be it further proclaimed that May 15th, 2026 shall be Peace Officers Memorial Day in the City of Placerville, and the United States flag shall be flown at half-staff at all city offices on the state. All right. And we will come down and present this to our Maziel, Commander Maziel.
What are we doing here? All right.
All right. Would anybody like to speak on item 3.3? All right.
Well, I just want to show my appreciation. We have a top-notch police department. They've always been there whenever we need help for anything, and I just want to say how much I really appreciate all of you. Thank you.
And I'll echo those sentiments. We really do appreciate you guys. I've never heard a bad word about you from anybody. You guys are absolutely an amazing force, and we appreciate you guys.
All right. Great. All right, we're going to move on now to item 3.4, a proclamation declaring May 2026 as Lyme Disease Awareness Month. Whereas Lyme disease is a complex multi-system bacterial infection transmitted by the bite of an infected tick, and if left untreated can invade the brain, nervous system, and multiple organs, leading to chronic pain and neurological impairment. And whereas early signs of infection often include a rash and flu-like symptoms, however, because there is currently no reliable form of testing to pinpoint the disease with 100% accuracy, patients are frequently misdiagnosed with conditions such as fibromyalgia, multiple sclerosis, or chronic fatigue syndrome. And whereas the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention estimates that while 35,000 cases are reported annually, the actual number of new infections is closer to 476,000, meaning that many Californians may be suffering without a proper diagnosis or access to prompt treatment. And whereas the progression of untreated Lyme disease can lead to devastating consequences, including financial hardship, job loss, and long-term disability affecting Californians of all ages and backgrounds. And whereas California is the locus of more distinct borealis species than any other geographic region in the United States, with the western-legged black-legged tick found in 56 of California's 58 counties and active year-round. And whereas in certain regions of California, the infection rate of nymphophile ticks, which are as small as a poppy seed and difficult to detect, has been found to be as high as 42%, representing one of the highest infection rates in the nation. And whereas the ticks that spread Lyme disease can also transmit co-infections such as babiosis and anophthalmiasis, further complicating the clinical procedure and requiring greater medical awareness and specialized care. Now, therefore, I, Nicole Gottberg, by virtue of the authority invested me and Mayor of Placerville, the City of Placerville, hereby proclaim May 2026 as Lyme Disease Awareness Month. Is Melissa Moyer here? Great. Would you like to say anything before we do the...
For you guys, so I'll leave that. I just wanted to thank you guys for supporting this month, again, this year. I really greatly appreciate it. We do have a foundation, Lyme Fight Foundation, that has some information. If you guys ever find yourself in that situation, you can go there and find some helpful tips and things that you could do for prevention.
Great, thanks. I'll come down and present this.
pieces are so big.
I know. Go through it later. It's like a mismatch.
Okay.
All right. Would any member of the public like to comment on item 3.4? All right, I see none. Any members of the council? Nope. All right, we are going to move on to item number 4, closed session report, City Attorney Ibrahimi.
Thank you, Mayor Gottberg. The council met in closed session on 4 items this evening. There was no public comment in advance. On item 1, appointment of interim city manager, the city council unanimously appointed Joe Wren as the interim city manager. On item number 2, the council unanimously appointed Natalie Tornicasa as the director of finance. And on items 3 and 4, the council provided direction to staff.
All right. We're going to move on to item number 5, adoption of the agenda.
Before we do that, there's always the awkward moment when the people that came for all the ceremonial matters, y'all can leave if you want. I mean, as much as we might want to have you at our meeting, and we could just, and we do cover a lot of interesting stuff. It's okay.
Good job.
All right. Item 5, adoption of the agenda.
I'll move to adopt the agenda.
I will second that.
All right, I have a first and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? None? All right, we're going to move on now to item number 6, announcement presentations to the public, starting with 6.1, brief comments by the City Council. Councilmember Carter.
Yeah, I went to the wildfire event on the 2nd. I was a little bit later, so I didn't see any of you guys there, but congratulations to the Fire Safe Council on another awesome event. It was good seeing the public out there learning about our local fire prevention efforts. I was also invited to speak at the National Day of Prayer event, which is held the first Thursday of every May. It was a really great event. We had speakers from churches, businesses, education, media, and government. And yeah, excellent event. So that's
All right. Vice Mayor No.
Yeah, I also went to the Fire Safe Council event. It was another great event, a good turnout. And I just want to say happy birthday to us. If you look in the back, we're celebrating our 172nd birthday. Go have some fruit and cookies. Thanks.
All right. Councilmember Clarici.
Boy, oh boy. So that's what that's for. I was wondering. Okay. Wow. I went to the fire event as well, and it was really good. I did have to leave early because I had to go watch a Little League baseball game. Which, with all due respect to Mark Acuna, he's not here, so I can say something. It doesn't, they don't compare. So I had to go see my grandson play baseball. But it was a good event, always a lot of interesting stuff. And we just need to tell more people about it, get the word out to more people, so get more people to go. But it was very good. And that was it.
All right. I also attended the fire event as well, and I don't think I have anything else tonight. Would anybody like to comment on our brief comments? All right. I see none, so we're going to move on to item 6.2, Monument Garden Park Bench. Mr. Nishihara.
Thank you, Mayor, City Council. I'll actually invite Mrs. Lishman up to the podium so she can go ahead and introduce and tell you guys a little bit about this wonderful woodwork we have in front of you.
Look at that thing.
Good evening again, Kathy Lishman. I'm not going to say anything about it. I'll let the high school people do that. But after a comment was made at the last meeting about what happened to that wood and a little discussion, after I got home, I emailed Mr. Gunnarsson, and I said to him jokingly, "Is there any chance you could make a bench before school's out?" And he said, "Sure." So, ta-da.
But since the last project took 4 years, I thought I still had more time. we were able to do this, and we're really not finished. We're taking that right after our little spiel, but it's really close, and we're happy with it. And they did want to talk a little about the wood, because when you're working with wood was in a water tower somewhere near here, I never was given the location, but somewhere near here, built over 100 years ago, you get logs that don't always cooperate with you. And so, you know, there's some interesting things that happen with this kind of old rustic stuff. But it is fantastic, and we did want to clean it up some, but we wanted to leave it a little rustic too, because I thought that was fitting for part of its story, really. You can see bee holes in there that bees dug into at one point, and we're going to, of course, treat it and give it a nice finish, and I don't think we're going to have a lot of trouble with it, and we'll pin it down and do all those kinds of things to it. But we have a little more work to do with it, but it was a beam that came from that water tower, as were the two beams holding up the bell out here, and I don't know if you knew that, but those we cut and put in place too, so that bell could be on. But we did have a fun time with it, and this is Chase. He is one of my right-hand people. He loves to come in. Whenever he has time, he's in the shop working on stuff. And I said, well, I got a project. We have to do it in less than 4 years this time, so.
I'm Chase. I'm a student. I used to be a student for Gunnarsson. My sophomore year, I'm a junior, and I used to come into the shop, and he offered me to help work on the bench, and I said yes, because I don't ever turn anything down for Gunnarsson, because it's fun, you know. But yeah, he asked if I was able to work on the bench. I said yes. Yeah, it's amazing. And I've worked with him for a while. I've helped him clean in the shop whenever I had my free period at El Dorado. Yeah, it's very nice.
All right. Thank you. Yeah.
He told me he's proud to be part of a project that he knows will be used by the public.
Yes.
That we, you know, in the community where we live, so, thank you. If you don't mind, we'd like to go grab that after you make it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just want to thank you and say we'd love to have you like every council meeting.
That's a good thing, isn't it?
Yeah, just keep bringing us
As long as
for
you-
our parks and our
As long as you're bringing us furniture, it's great. You know, like the nice dining room table and some chairs would be good. That'd be great. But yeah, well, thank you very much. And the program up there is fantastic, by the way. It's just amazing. The things that go on at El Dorado, the culinary school, the woodworking, the shops, go Cougars.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Jason. Thank you, Mr. Gunnarsson. Great job. It looks amazing. I look forward to seeing it put in place.
Yep. All right.
Yes.
That's a true test.
Yeah, does it work?
You know what? We should all go sit on it and take a picture.
All right, we're gonna do.
Before you take it, we're gonna sit on it and take a picture. Because we can.
Because we.
Physics, guys, physics. They're gonna leave a space for me, or is it just my idea? Okay.
We really just wanted to move around, wiggle.
I do work tonight.
I would like to say one more thing, since there's people in the audience that may not know. That beautiful wheelbarrow at the Monument Garden was made by the high school also.
That's a good point.
All right. Would anybody else like to comment on this item? All right, we will go ahead and move on to item number 7, consent calendar. Would anybody like to pull anything from the consent calendar? All right, I see none. Would any member of the public like to comment on any items on our consent calendar? All right, I see none, so I'll bring it back to the council for a motion.
I'll move the consent calendar.
I'll second that.
All right, I have a first.
I have a question, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
7.9, how does this, is it structured as a loan from the city or from the state, or how does this work for this low-income housing grant?
It's actually, we have Chris Westlake, who's the expert on this, if he could come up and speak.
Yeah, if you could just give me an idea of how this is structured between the city and the developer and the state.
Yeah, good evening. So it's a grant from the state, HCD, to the city of Placerville. Then the city of Placerville provides it as a loan to the development.
Yeah. And then if I read it correctly, as long as you maintain that level of affordable housing, then does it get forgiven at the end of that, or does it get, how does that?
No, it's a 55-year loan.
Okay, so it's repaid.
Yeah, and it's only eligible because of the affordability that we put into the project, where we do the 30, 40, and 50, 60% AMI levels into it. That's the only reason it was eligible for it.
And then if you at any point change the mission of that, then is it due in full at that time, or is it, how does
Right.
it? Okay.
So basically, they never change from those structures that,
Right.
once they go into that form there. So it could never really convert to a market rate
Okay.
project or anything.
Thank you.
All right. All right, I have a first and a second. Could I get a roll call vote, please?
Councilmember Carter?
Aye.
Councilmember Clarici?
Aye.
Vice Mayor No?
Aye.
Mayor Gottberg?
Aye. All right, we are now going to move on to public comment, non-agenda items. This portion of the meeting is reserved for persons wishing to address the council on any matter that is not on the agenda, but that is within the subject matter jurisdiction of the city council. You will be limited to 3 minutes. If you would like to talk to us about something that's not on our agenda tonight, this is your opportunity to do so.
Sue Rodman, resident of Placerville, and in the newspaper, I was really happy to see that the county is actually stepping up to help with the wagon train this year. So I said, yes, it's about time they stepped up.
It helps with the pool. Yes.
Yeah.
Good evening, Leo Bennett Koshan. First, thank you so much for the light, tasty, healthy. I'll try not to eat too much of the tasty. Happy birthday. Your history explains that you're resurrected, that you got incorporated in 1854, but there was a 27-year lapse, and hopefully you have learned, and I know you have, be careful when you get into private contractor stuff, because it was a way of getting out of loans. So it's kind of like happy 172nd, happy 145th, and may you have many, many more. A little bit of history there. And just, it's just part of the history that there was a Native American settlement, Edak, and so you're building on a long heritage, and perhaps including that in your history for this birthday would be something worth considering. It is with somewhat heavy heart that I came to share that I was blessed to work with Cleve. My degree's in public administration. It's very atypical to keep a city manager so long. Most it's 4.5 years. So I was shocked and saddened, as the rumor mill said, that you lost Dave Warren. I don't know if we're all supposed to have his personal email address, but he gave me it, and I checked with him, and I know the reason, but that's for him to disclose. But I want you guys to know that, unfortunately, people are saying that you lost trust, and he kind of got forced out. And so just maybe you can comment, because you are allowed to make brief comments, or consider it at the celebration that we can get a wonderful article in the Mountain Democrat like we had for Cleve. And though his tenure was short, Dave was assistant manager, a wonderful fiscal person, gave so much to the city. And A, I'm saddened by his loss, and B, I'm saddened by what social media does and all that. So I just, FYI. And then I just think, it's just wonderful. I always say you guys are the little city that does, little engine that can. And good luck as you try to find somebody. I'm assuming that Chief Friend doesn't want to have another whole career, but thanks for stepping into the breach. Take care.
All right, are there any further comments on non-agenda items? All right, I see none. So 8.2, written communications. Do we have any written communications?
Yes, Madam Mayor, the City Council received 2 items regarding the banning, the use and sale of glyphosate in the city of Placerville. Copies of those comments have been provided to the public on the back table. Thank you.
All right. Item 9, items pulled from the consent calendar. We had none. Item number 10, ordinances, we have none tonight, so we're going to move on to item 11, public hearings. 11.1, consider approving El Dorado disposal rates for the collection of solid waste and recycling within the City of Placerville franchise area effective July 1, 2026. Chief Wren.
Thank you, Mayor. We actually have, I believe, Sue in the office. She's going to come up and have a presentation for us.
Thank you, Chief. Thank you, Chief Wren, Interim City Manager, Mayor Gottberg, and council members. My name is Sue Vandelinder. I used to be the one from El Dorado Disposal that would come and see you every year. I moved into a different role with Waste Connections. I oversee a number of rural locations for Waste Connections, El Dorado being home and one of those for 40 years. So local resident, longtime resident here. Just as a little background about me. So Chris had a family emergency this evening, and everything's going to be okay, but I told him he needed to be where he needed to be, and I would step in. So I'm going to do my best with his presentation, given my 8 hours reviewing it, but I am very familiar with the City of Placerville. I'm also very familiar with our programs. I was part of the genesis for the contract with John Driscoll many years ago. So without further ado, every year we come before you and we make, I'm going to call it a short presentation, sort of about the services that we provide, the number of customers we serve, the tons that we divert from our landfills, programs that we've instituted, and new things that are coming. So that's kind of an overview of what I'm going to talk about tonight. And then we talk about rates and how the rates are changing. So just to kind of level set with everyone, we service over 3,000 residential customers and 400 commercial businesses within the city limits. We have wonderful voucher programs, curbside programs, in addition to our normal services. And those voucher programs allow for residents to decide when it's convenient for them to have a service, a bulky item pickup, or pick up their oil or batteries. One of the things that we changed this last year was we moved to a battery bag program instead of a battery jug program. The jugs were harder for people to fill up because they were really large. Battery bags are much easier, and we found that we're getting more and more of the batteries out of the waste stream, less fire. So I appreciate everybody for doing their part with that. So a lot of customers use those. We find it to be very convenient for them. A couple of highlights on diversion from the landfill. We diverted over 2,000 tons of organics out of the landfill this year within the city limits, okay? And just about 1,400 tons of recycling. So those are materials that years ago would have hit the landfill. And we're able, with our curbside programs and also with our drop-off programs, to keep those things out of the landfill. And those numbers have been steadily increasing, albeit small. They increased a lot the first year we did it. We see small increases every year in terms of other things that we are able to divert. Something else I want to talk about a little bit has to do with our material recovery facility and the number of residents that use our household facility there. It's free for everybody to drop off. So needles, different kinds of fluids, household cleaning products, and we get a lot of people that come in and use that facility for free. So we had about 850 residents in Placerville use that service this year. We try to track where material is coming from when you enter the gate there. Not everybody realizes whether or not they're a City of Placerville resident, okay? We actually have to get a map out and show them and, try to help them figure out whether or not they're within the city limits. So we do our best to judge, how many customers are actually coming from the city. So this is based on people telling us where they're coming from, okay? Like I said, the voucher programs have been wildly successful. We've got a yard waste voucher program, paint and e-waste pickup curbside, bulky item pickup like your couch or whatever you need. Electronic waste like a TV. So for people that don't have pickup trucks, et cetera, we're able to pick those things up for them for free. I want to talk a little bit about outreach and education. Thank you, who's ever moving that slide deck. I appreciate it. I think probably this is the most important thing that we're focused on right now is outreach and education, because people are barraged with information and, they tend to tune it out. And we're trying to have people tune it in with regard to contamination of recycling and mixed organics. I'll give you an example. Last week we picked up a bag. It wasn't from the city, but we picked up a bag of mixed organics, and it was in a paper bag. They make big, large paper bags for extra material. And that went to our processing facility, our sister processing facility in Ukiah, where we process all of our mixed organics. Well, a paper bag with mixed organics in it can go through a shredder, no problem, right? And that paper breaks down just like the green waste and food waste does. Unfortunately, somebody had taken textiles, so clothing, and put those in that bag, right? And so that contaminant wasn't something that we were able to see, but the shredder didn't like it, right? So it took our shredder down for a couple days, broke it. So that's why, along with fire, that's why it's so important that we get those materials out of the waste stream and that we educate. And we really can't do enough of it. So we work through social media platforms, all different kinds of platforms. We work through printed material. We call customers. We go out and we do what we call lid flipping. So if you see us in the neighborhood, we're not trying to get anybody. We're just looking in the cart, making sure if it's recycling that it is what it is. Or we'll leave a tag. Hey, did you know, right? And we'll educate by doing those lid flips. It's actually a requirement of the state that we do those things, so we do those on behalf of the city. We also go out and meet with a lot of commercial customers, so we met with over 120 commercial customers this year. And again, with restaurants, you have a lot of turnover, so some of the staff maybe hasn't had, that kind of education. So those are the things that our community service people are providing. We had better participation at our cleanup events this year than we had last year, so I just wanted to mention that seems to be wildly successful. And I'll tell you another thing on the carts. The reason why Chris put the picture of the cart lids up is because we're now hot stamping new carts that are being delivered. So if somebody's cart's damaged or broken and we replace it, it's being replaced with a new cart with a hot stamp on it. I think the most important thing about that hot stamp is it has a QR code. Because as we know in our industry, materials that can be recycled change. They change. And so if you just hot stamp what's acceptable and what's not acceptable, sometimes you're going to miss the mark because materials change. So the QR code gives us an opportunity to lead people back to our website where we can keep them updated. Okay, so every year we look at the Consumer Price Index for the state of California, and we measure the percentage of change in that index. The percentage of change for this year was 3.09%. We have to meet all of our performance standards, or there are deductions for that. And we actually review those performance standards every month with city staff to ensure that we're doing what we said we were going to do. So we review those performance standards. Those are delivered monthly to city staff, and we actually sit down in a one-on-one and review those performance standards. And I'm pleased to say that we met all of our performance standards for 2026. Those performance standards are based on missed pickups, hold times, correction of customer complaints within 2 business days, litter complaints within 2 business days, and timely reporting. The most common size cart in the city is the 35-gallon cart. That's for trash. That's the cart that most people have. The rate change for a 35-gallon customer is going to be $1.02 per month. This rate change is effective July 1st of 2026. And we can move to the next page. So a couple of things I wanted to highlight for 2025. Our compost take-back program. So this is something we worked on with the city back in 2023. There were a couple of options that were provided to you. One of the option was to purchase credits, I think, from Pioneer Energy. The other was to take back mixed organics, so take back compost, right, that's created out of the mixed organics that come out of the city. And the decision was made to bring back mixed organics, which has been, I must say, very successful. I don't know if any of you have had an opportunity to go over and pick any of that up. I just put some in my garden last week, and it's wonderful stuff. It is certified organic. That's why we're really picky about what goes in there, because we want to make sure that we can keep that certification. I just want to let you know, so we brought back over 500 tons of material. We exceeded our goal in 2025. In 24, I think we did like 300 tons, and we have already hit our number for 26. So we're going to continue to bring back material because people love it so much, and we have a lot of it. We generate a lot of material. So we're bringing a truck basically up to our processing facility, and we're bringing back a truckload of that finished compost. So that's been a great program. The other one that I want to talk about is textile collection, and you're going to see more of this because the state's sort of kind of focusing on textiles, and that's clothing. So we started a clothing collection system, if you will. Very hard to find end users of that kind of material. That's always our challenge, is that back end market, finding a market for materials. And I'm not talking about a market that's going to pay you. I'm talking about a market that you might pay, but what you're trying to do is divert it out of the landfill. That's the goal. So anyway, we started a textile program, and we've had continual success with people utilizing those green containers. It's on the honor system. You're opening a drawer, you're putting your textiles in there, and then the company's coming and collecting that. And we have one at our buyback center located on Truck Street. We also have one at our transfer station on Throw It Away. So people are using that, and they're actually using it correctly. We're not finding a lot of contamination, so that's been a great program. I think I already touched on battery bags and the reduction of truck fires. We have seen a lot of benefit with moving to the battery bag, so I'll just leave it at that. And we'll flip to 26. About a month ago, I think, Chris and I were here with Monica. Monica runs our office, by the way, at El Dorado, so she is the pleasant voice that you get to talk to when your call is escalated, or sometimes she's just answering the phone. But anyway, she does a fantastic job. And so we were all here about a month ago talking about an update to the franchise agreement. So cleaning up the language, making sure that, instead of having 3 amendments or addendums, having everything sort of in one place. We talked about the new containers on Main Street and doing an art project with those. So those things are all we're still marching ahead with that. So we'll be bringing interim manager Ren up to speed on where we're at with that, and sit down and go over all that information. But we're really excited about the Big Belly cans and looking forward to making that happen. We also are looking at the household hazardous waste program. Chris has been meeting with the county to try and get our hours extended. That was something that came up at the last council meeting, so we're working on that right now. And then really, Chris wanted me to touch on educating the youth, so we're really wanting to get back into the schools, I think more, I'll say fervently, doing more education and outreach at the school level. And then we have our, material recovery facility, and we've got a great program there for kids to come. And we do get quite a few kids that do come, but it is going to be an emphasis for us this year. And like I said, community engagement, we can't do enough of it. So, you're going to see us everywhere we can possibly be, with the booth outreach materials, just having conversations with people, because it's really confusing even for me as to what to put in your recycle cart, and it changes. So that leads me to, I guess, my last point before I say thank you and ask you if you have any questions, and that's Senate Bill 54. So Senate Bill 54 is a bill that, and it's not up here, but it's something I wanted to talk about because it really has to do with plastics. And plastics are the most difficult thing to recycle out of all the materials that you can think of, actually, because there's so many types of plastics, so many. And then you have PFAS, and you have, microplastics, and you have all this concern about plastics, right? So we're heavily engaged in finding ways to comply with SB 54 on behalf of the city, working with what they call the Producer Responsibility Organization for SB 54. So there's some funding that is held by the plastic manufacturers. And without getting into a lot of detail, I just want to say that we're making sure that we're at the forefront of working with the state and working with what we call the PRO for this plastics initiative to see what we can do about making sure that we have the tools necessary to be able to process more plastic that right now is being put in the garbage. So though that's a big, heavy lift, that's going to take a couple years, but I just wanted to highlight that and bring it to your attention that that's something that we're going to be working on.
Right.
And with that, I just want to say thank you for your time, and I'm happy to answer any questions you might have.
Are there questions from the council?
I do have a question. I've had a couple of seniors ask me if you could offer a green bin, but the size of the small trash can, because they live on hills and it's too hard. You already have that?
We can.
Oh, okay, great. I will let them know.
Yes. Thank you.
All right. Any other questions from the council? All right. You can step away and we'll open the public hearing. So I'm opening the public hearing for item 11.1. Would any member of the public like to comment on this item?
Sue Rodman, resident of Placerville and customer for Waste Management and Eldorado Disposal, and I have been very pleased with their services. I too am a senior and I cannot manage the big bins going down my very steep driveway, and my doctor sent a letter to Waste Management explaining that that was not something I was capable of doing. And they said, okay, that's all they needed was a letter that said that was not, and they would give me side yard service. So they have done that. They've given me side yard service, and so they bring up the smaller truck up my driveway and take my trash that way, and it works really well.
All right. Are there any other public comments on this item? All right, I see none, so I will close the public hearing and bring it back up to the council.
All right. It's Waste Connections, by the way. Waste Management is an entirely other corporate entity, but that's okay. Anyway, Waste Connections. All right. I think they're great. They've been coming here for a long time now, telling us what's what. I actually harken back to the days when you used to take all your trash and put it on the mountain of trash on Union Mine Road, which was actually kind of fun. But this is much better, and the mulch works really well. And very excited by the big bellies on Main Street. I think that's going to be a game changer for the look and feel of that. So I would, unless there's any questions, I will make a motion to adopt a staff recommendation on this item.
I'll second.
All right, I have a first and a second. Could I get a roll call vote, please?
Councilmember Carter?
Aye.
Councilmember Clarici?
Aye.
Vice Mayor No?
Aye.
Mayor Gottberg?
Aye. All right, thank you. We are now going to move on to item number 12, discussion and action items, starting with 12.1. Consider requesting $35,000 in financial support from El Dorado County for fiscal year 2026-2027 to offset operational costs associated with delivering a comprehensive aquatic center program to county residents living outside the city of Placerville. Mr. Nishihara.
Thank you, Mayor, City Council. Tonight before you is my request to consider our letter to the El Dorado County for this fiscal year to support our operations at the Placerville Aquatic Center. I think it's important to note that 7 out of 10 individuals that attend and participate at the Aquatic Center are not City of Placerville residents, and therefore the subsidies provided by our general fund provide for those 70% of the individuals that are in our pools, participating in our swimming lessons, doing lap swim, and participating in public swim, are really getting the benefit of our residents who live, shop, and enjoy their lifestyle within the City of Placerville borders. However, I do know that it is a very difficult time for all public agencies, and I don't want to sound like I am continually harking at the fact that we definitely need financial support. You have my staff report in front of you, and I'm available for questions if you have any.
Are there any questions from the council? All right, I see none. Would any member of the public like to comment on this item?
Sue Rodman again, and I think it's just about time the county contributed to our swimming pool. They do use it, and they should help pay. So, yeah, we need to send them a letter. We need to have them actually honor the letter and provide that support.
All right.
I think we should send Sue.
Kathy Lishman, I recently went to a budget workshop that the county had, and they said that they had $50,000 for community promotions. I believe that they gave $15,000 to the wagon train. And what they ended up doing with the other 35, because Arts and Culture was there that day requesting $35,000, that had tons of letters and gave an excellent presentation, and they said no. And what they did with the $35,000 they had left is they decided, although I didn't know if that was on the agenda really, to divvy it up, and each of the 5 supervisors will get $7,000 to do what they want in their district. So I don't think that we should be part of the community promotions or whatever they call that. I think our request is different, and I appreciate the fact, and I think you should go to the board and ask them for it, because it is used a lot by the county residents. It's a wonderful pool.
I agree, it's a wonderful pool. I get great feedback from my grandchildren. I worked really hard to get wagon train funding back with a lot of people, so I'm just sharing. It took us 1.5 years. You find a point person, hopefully Brian Veerkamp, you have a 2x2. The way we did it was bringing back community funding, because the overall approach was, gee, maybe we cut too much and we threw out the pool, the wagon train, arts and culture, baby with the bathwater. And so the idea that finally caught on was, let's bring back community funds, $50K, and then we'll give the wagon train 15, and this was key, matching. So I'm just suggesting that you let them know, you're really not asking for a $35K grant. You're asking for a $35K to match your $1,500 for that 710. You know, it's just the language that seemed to get the traction. And then they had a long conversation about the community funding, and that's an old model. And what it is each person, as was shared, gets 7K, but they can combine. And none of this is certain, it's just direction. They could throw it all out. But the bathwater again, it's going to come back in June. And what we learned, I don't know if you can, maybe for the future, we learned with the wagon train, get it in early, give direction, so staff isn't setting, well, if we give the city any money, then you're going to have to cut this other program. And I will tell you, my degree's in public administration. They cut you the last time, and then at the adopted budget, they found $1 million, and later on they find another $1 million. I haven't done the math, but it's budget dust, 0.00. So they have the money. It's just a question of what their priorities are. So good luck with our Board of Supervisors, and anything I can do to help. I can bring my grandchildren. They're really cute, and sometimes that works. Thank you.
All right, any further public comment on this item? All right, I see none, so I'll bring it back up to the council.
I'll move staff's recommendation.
Sure.
Second.
Well, yeah, okay, let's just be real here for a moment. It's not like the pool just fell out of the sky into Placerville and we've been asking for money. This has been a thing that's been going on with the county for a long time. And they've made it clear the last few years that they have absolutely no interest in doing this. I appreciate the fact that we go and ask them. It's a little embarrassing because they always tell us that lately they've just been no. And you know what? They don't give a rip. If that pool closed tomorrow and the 70% of people that use it that are in the county, and you went to those supervisors and asked them a question, said, like, do you care about this? I mean, Brian would care. The rest of them don't care. They don't care. If you go, I've been to that meeting. I've gone to those people. I have asked hat in hand. And they'll tell you, well, wait, but, Cameron Park has a pool and El Dorado Hills has a pool. And that's kind of like us having a pool, except those people get a budget directly to make those pools happen. And I'm kind of tired of it. I mean, I appreciate Dennis's desire to go and chat with them one more time, and God bless him. I hope he's successful. But they don't give a rip. And if that pool closed tomorrow, at least 4 of those 5 supervisors wouldn't care. And that's the reality of it. And so, that thing, you talk about match money, I don't know how much it costs. I mean, I do know how much it costs to keep the pool open, and it's a hell of a lot more than $35,000. That's for darn sure. This is becoming annoying. Anyway, sorry.
All right.
We have a motion second.
I have a first and a second. Could I get a roll call vote, please?
Councilmember Carter?
Aye.
Councilmember Clarici?
Aye.
Vice Mayor No?
Aye.
Mayor Gottberg?
Aye. All right, we are going to move on now to item 12.2, biennial update on General Plan Amendment Program 1, status of background report, data update. Ms. Kendrick.
Good evening, Mayor and members of the City Council. Carol Kendrick, Director of Development Services, presenting the biannual update on the General Plan Implementation Program Number 1. The required update of key data in the General Plan background policy, background report that is 196 pages long. Here I have it. It states that the city shall biannually update key data in the General Plan background report. The biannual update shall be prepared by the Development Services Department with the cooperation of the city department heads in draft form by May 15th for the use of the City Council in making budget decisions. This report fulfills that requirement. Staff has coordinated with all relevant departments and prepared a general tracking table provided as attachment B. It's general because it's such a large technical document, and I haven't found any evidence that we've done any of these in the past, so we're kind of taking small bites at the apple. While many topic areas are being maintained on an ongoing basis with existing resources that include park conditions, population, and housing data, including our RENA, police services, and land use mapping. However, several critical areas will require significant updates and funding. These include flooding and FEMA maps, Highway 50 corridor improvements, roadway network, traffic counts and VMT analysis, seismic and geologic hazards, wastewater, water supply and water resources capacity, and storm drainage systems. Additional items such as air quality, greenhouse gas inventory, biological resources, historic resources, and noise will also need significant work dependent on funding availability. We also note that the safety element which addresses several hazard-related topics, is currently in progress and targeted for completion later this calendar year. There is no associated cost with tonight's action. However, the significant updates planned for the future will require dedicated resources, most likely involving consultant services. We recommend that the departments begin bringing preliminary cost estimates this year for consideration in the 27-28 budget. Staff's recommendation is that the City Council receive and file this update and direct staff to proceed with the review and finalization process as outlined in the general plan, with final publication targeted for August 1st. This update provides City Council with a current assessment of data needs to help guide future infrastructure, public safety, and planning decisions. That concludes my presentation. I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Are there any questions from the council?
Well, since we're sending letters of request for money, can we send a letter to the state and ask them to cover all the costs of these things they want us to do?
All right. Any other questions or comments from the council? All right. Any public that would like to comment on this item? All right. I see no public comment, so I'll bring it back to the council for motion.
I'll move staff recommendation. Oh,
Oh.
I will
Or
receive and file
sorry.
staff recommendation.
Okay. Yes. If it's a receive and file, I maybe.
I'm just, okay. Okay,
Yes, we are directing staff to proceed with the review.
that's what I meant.
Okay. No, we don't need a motion on
That's
this one.
fine, I just forget.
All right. That was my fault. I asked for a motion. All right. Item 12.3. Consider abolishing the Assistant Finance Director position and approving a new full-time accountant position effective May 4th, 2026. Ms. Tornicasa.
Good afternoon, Mayor Gottberg and City Council members. The purpose of tonight's staff report is to approve the proposed reorganization of the Finance Department, which includes replacing the existing Assistant Finance Director position with an additional accountant position. Some quick background. For the current fiscal year, 25-26, our operating budget includes an Assistant Finance Director, but due to an internal promotion, that position became vacant on October 4th of 2025. As a strategy in attracting and retaining a new employee, generating much needed budget savings, as well as just evaluating the needs of the department, staff recommended on September 9th of 2025 to underfill the position with an accountant. So the recruitment is now complete and a new full-time accountant has been hired. For the budget impact, based on the reorganization, the projected annual cost savings is $45,711, and just from the projected savings from today through June 30th is $6,000. So that concludes my presentation, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
All right. Are there any questions from the council? All right. I see none. Would any member of the public like to comment on this item? All right. No public comments, so we'll bring it up to the council.
I will move staff's recommendation.
We can make a motion here. I'll second that.
All right. I have a first and a second. Could I get a roll call vote, please?
Councilmember Carter?
Aye.
Councilmember Clarici?
Aye.
Vice Mayor No?
Aye.
Mayor Gottberg?
Aye. All right. We're going to move on to 12.4. Consider approving new development fees for the Planning Division and Engineering Department effective July 13th, 2026. Ms. Kendrick and Ms. Savage.
Good evening, Mayor Gottberg and members of the City Council. Thank you for the opportunity to present this item 12.4 this evening. That is a resolution approving updated development fees for planning and engineering effective July 13th, 2026. Our existing master fee schedule was adopted in July of 2008 under Resolution 7625. For nearly 18 years, with the exception of recreation fees and most recently building and encroachment fees, most development-related fees have remained largely unchanged. During that time, the city faced significant economic challenges, including the Great Recession and the COVID-19 pandemic. Meanwhile, the actual cost of delivering these services has risen substantially due to inflation, increased salaries and benefits, new state regulatory requirements, including CEQA, and more complex project reviews. Planning and engineering staff completed a comprehensive review. We updated billable rates based on current salary schedules and all associated overhead costs. We revised time estimates using actual current workflows. Importantly, we now use the appropriate planner level rates for most applications, so applicants are not being charged the director's rate for services. We also benchmarked our fees against surrounding jurisdictions. The result is a proposed fee schedule that better recovers costs reasonably borne by the city and improves equity among users and remains regionally competitive. The updated schedule maintains our existing framework of flat fees, deposits, and time and materials billing while making targeted adjustments. Many fees have increased to better align with actual cost. Examples include a conditional use permit major is going from $1,500 to $2,700 plus a $1,200 engineering deposit as needed. The minor conditional use permit is going from $700 to $2,250 plus an $815 engineering deposit as needed. And a major variance is going from $1,000 to $2,400 plus a $650 engineering fee as needed. All of these items require Planning Commission review, so there's a lot of time associated with that. Several complex or highly variable applications are shifting to deposit-based time and material structures with higher initial cost. This includes annexations with a $10,000 deposit plus engineering, general plan amendments, and environmental reviews, which are the actual cost plus 20% administrative fee. Site plan review fees have been simplified to a consistent $1,500 deposit plus a $1,000 engineering deposit across all valuation tiers, replacing the previous complicated percentage of value calculations. We are introducing several new fees marked with an asterisk for services that previously had no fees, such as a conditional use permit amendment, a home occupation permit, landscape plan review, and public convenience and necessity, and various types of sign permits. Proposed fee schedule preserves the city's longstanding subsidy policy in section 1.22.4A of the Placerville Municipal Code. This section allows the city to intentionally subsidize certain applications to support broader public policy goals. Under the updated schedule, many items will continue to receive significant subsidies, meaning applicants will pay well below the full cost of service. Examples include appeals to the Planning Commission or City Council have a 60% subsidy. Burn down letters have a 30% subsidy. Historic District Review have a 25% subsidy. Preliminary reviews, minor deviations, and zoning and floodplain letters have a 20 to 30% subsidies, and special event sign permits have a 50% subsidy. These subsidies reflect city policy priorities and will continue under the new fee schedule unless the council provides other direction to staff. The proposed fees are shown in attachment C of your staff report, including combined planning and engineering component fees. These fees remain competitive with neighboring jurisdictions such as Auburn, Folsom, El Dorado County, Rockland, and others. In most categories, our fees are at or below the regional average. I would like to thank our city engineer, Melissa Savage, working with planning staff to make sure that where we have overlap on these entitlement applications, that we're highlighting the fees that are going to be due, and so the applicant knows. So at this time, I would like to recommend that the City Council adopt the resolution approving the new development fee schedule as shown in Attachment A, effective July 13th, 2026. This update supports our strategic plan goal of fiscal stability and sustainability and will have no impact on the current fiscal year. We believe these changes strike the right balance between responsible cost recovery and maintaining Placerville's business-friendly environment. Thank you, and both the city engineer and I are happy to answer any questions you may have.
All right, are there any questions from the council?
Yeah, how realistic is doing a graduated increase, spreading these increases over a couple of years perhaps to kind of relieve some of the sticker shock? I mean, some of these fees are almost quadrupling. Is that a realistic possibility?
Actually, in the code, it says we're supposed to update them annually.
Okay. Just want something to consider, so, yeah.
Yeah, no, I realize I had the same sticker shock when I read it, but the reality is it's still not even covering our costs.
Understood.
And I think we should in the future, the ordinances we have that are telling us to subsidize these things, I think we should have staff bring back and look which of those are reasonable and which of those not reasonable. I mean, there are things in here like we don't even issue CCWs, this whole thing should be updated. And I would like to have a recommendation coming back.
Are there any other questions from the council or comments?
This is just the challenge when you don't stay on top of things. I mean, and it's funny, we ran into the same thing with the sewer and water rates. We hadn't raised sewer and water rates for 4 years. People were convinced we had. They thought we had, maybe because they used more water and they went up to another level or something, but they were convinced we'd raised rates, and we said, nope, these rates are the same. They've been the same for 4 years. So even when you come back, and then that first year's a big shock because you're making up for the 4 years you didn't raise rates. And this is just an abject lesson in that, is that sometimes we're just a little too nice inside the city limits. I'll tell you right now, they don't do this in other places. And I think we just need to do it, rip the Band-Aid off. It's a good, I like the idea, but you'll get, this is the thing, if you try to graduate it, I personally believe if you try to graduate, you're going to get the same amount of pushback as if you do it all at once. It won't matter. Except you might get it every year while you're doing the graduations. Plus you'll be adding potentially cost, inflation and stuff. So my gut tells me the easiest thing, well, the best way to go about this, not the easiest, none of this is easy, is to go ahead and just do it all. Like take the staff recommendation.
Right. Any other
That's my feeling about it.
questions or comments from the council? All right, I see none, so I will take it to public comment. Would any member of the public like to comment on this item? All right, I see no public comment, so we will go ahead and bring it back to the council.
I will make a motion to approve staff's recommendation, and I'd also like to ask that sometime in the future, not date specific, that schedule of fees come back for us for an updated recommendation.
Yeah. I'll second that.
All right, I have a first and a second. Could I get a roll call vote, please?
Councilmember Carter?
No.
Councilmember Clarici?
Aye.
Vice Mayor No?
Aye.
Mayor Gottberg?
Aye. All right, we are going to move on now to item number 13, council reports from other agency meetings. El Dorado County Transit Authority. Are you doing that? No?
Yes, I am. Right. So we only had one action item. That was a public hearing to review and acknowledge job vacancy status and recruitment efforts. So if you're looking for a job, go check out El Dorado Transit Authority.
All right, El Dorado County Transportation Commission.
I actually brought the agenda with me, so I wouldn't look like I didn't go to the meeting. The number one item we did was we passed the overall work program for fiscal year 26-27. It's a great document. If you ever want to know what's going on at the Transportation Commission, you look in there, and it outlines everything they're going to do and how much they're going to charge to do it. They're really cool documents, and we did that. We also got some reports back on pending legislation for the federal, they're reauthorizing the highway bill. It comes to an end in October of this year. There'll be a new one. Although it looks likely now they might just continue the old one on because, of course, getting any agreement on DC can be problematic at times. And the state is still working through their budget, and we really won't know much about any of the funding issues for roads or transit or anything until you get the May revise. Should happen pretty soon here, and then find out what they actually come up with in June. So those things are all pending. So anyway, that was it.
All right, LAFCO,
We did not meet.
SACOG,
We meet next week.
Pioneer.
Yeah, I got a couple updates. So Pioneer is exploring options to help out our neighbors in South Lake Tahoe. I'm sure some people have seen the news about them being cut off from their power supply.
Yes.
And so there's some challenges involved, one being that South Lake Tahoe is not connected to the California grid. So there's some challenges involved, but we're trying to explore options to help South Lake Tahoe and expand possibly up there to provide their energy. And we also got an update on a really interesting it's called biogas. And so what they're doing now is they're almost like micro generation plants that they're actually putting on dairy farms. And they're using the byproducts, the waste products from the dairy farms to produce energy and then selling it to the grid. So it's a really cool new program. I think we have about 6 or 7 projects coming up over the next couple of years in the biogas area. So really cool process. Check it out.
All right. Placerville Fire Safe Council, primarily we talked about the May 2nd event and kind of how it went and improvements or other things we might want to do in the future for next year. And then Opportunity Knocks.
Yeah, we did meet. Not much happened. We did slightly change our meeting times, and then we got a couple updates. Nothing that's really of consequence to the city right now.
All right. Would any member of the public like to comment on item 13?
Sue Rodman, I'd like to comment on Pioneer Energy. They keep saying, okay, you're doing a good job saving energy. We're going to give you a master charge, a prepaid master charge card as a reward. And I don't want a prepaid master charge card. I want them to either use that to improve their services or to give me that as a discount on my bill. But don't send me a stupid card that I have to use and they have to pay to get those things out. So how much of Pioneer Energy's profits are being wasted doing this program of sending people master charge cards? And I threatened them this last time. I said, if you don't stop this, I'm going back to PG&E.
Whoa.
Kathy Lishman, and I don't mean to put Councilmember Clarici on the spot, but could you give any highlights of the Transportation Commission's overall work plan, just anything that affects the city?
Oh, well.
I know I could read the plan, but.
It's okay. That implies I read it, but no. The things that are kind of, Kathy, the things that are sort of ongoing, there's still the initiatives with Trip to Green and working on that. There are, the basic CIP stuff that they support us with, all the projects that they help out with over time. The big thing for the city is moving ahead, in my humble opinion, is the fourth leg of the Ray Lawyer interchange, and that's in the STIP now, and so they're marshaling that through. We just have very initial planning money. We're nowhere near getting construction money on that project, but that's a big one. That's a huge. That could be a real big impact for the city, because if you get Ray Lawyer Drive functioning fully, I think it would have material impacts to Placerville Drive interchange, which it was going to be a huge project. I mean, it's going to be big no matter what, but it may take some of the pressure off of Placerville Drive and maybe make those improvements a little less big over time. So that's a real big thing for the city. And then they support, all the planning, all the bike stuff, all the ped stuff, and sort of that. So those are some of the highlights that are in there.
All right. We're going to move on to item number 14, requests for future agenda items. Would anybody like to request a future agenda item? All right, I see none. So 15, city manager and staff reports. 15.1, acknowledge and file the HDL sales tax and economic reports for the quarter ended December 31st, 2025. Ms. Tornin-Casa.
Thank you, Mayor Gottberg and City Council members. Tonight I'll be going over at a very high level the HDL sales tax report for the quarter ended December 31st, 2025. So first, just want to highlight Bradley Burns sales tax. When you look at Q4 25 versus 24, on the cash basis, we were actually down $30,745. Which is 1.9% decrease. When you look at the adjusted for economic data, we were down $32,000 or 2%. Why the decrease? When you look at the major industry groups, it was primarily autos and transportation and fuel and service stations. And one of the things HCL might be highlighting is just a purchasing pullback on automobiles. When you compare City of Placerville with El Dorado County and the state, as I had mentioned, Placerville's Bradley Burns was down 2%. And again, this is just looking at Q4 25 to Q4 24, and whereas El Dorado County and the state were up 1.4 and 1.2%. As you guys all know, we have 3 add-on sales tax, Measure H, J, and L. Those were pretty much identical, with sales tax performing actually better in the fourth quarter, all of them up about 3.6% for both the cash basis and adjusted for economic data. When you look at our top 25 sales tax producers and compare it to the previous quarter, but this is looking at just Q3 2025 versus Q4 2025, Marshall Hospital and Verizon Wireless were added, and Shell and Marathon were removed. So just forward-looking summary and their outlook, HDL is continuing to forecast sales tax statewide to modestly increase this current fiscal year, up overall 1.8%. For Placerville, unfortunately, HDL is now forecasting the revenue to be flat, actually slightly down at 0.1%. Just a reminder, for this fiscal year, we budgeted $6.24 million, and it's forecasted to come in at $6.16 million, which is lower than budget at $87,000. When we look even further to the next fiscal year, which we're currently working on our budget for 26-27, HDL forecasts a 2.2% increase California statewide. However, for Placerville, they're actually lowering that slightly, still an increase, but at 1.7%, with projected total revenue of $6.2 million for the Bradley Burns, and that's the number we're using to develop our operating budget for 26-27, so a very modest increase. We'll continue to monitor the trends and report back on the outlook and sales tax performance. Please let me know if you have any questions.
All right. Are there any questions from the council? All right, I see none. Would any member of the public like to comment on 15.1? All right, I see none. So item 16, upcoming items, you can read those at your leisure, and I'm going to adjourn the meeting at 6:22 p.m.